Hey Harmonizers, welcome to this update of the first sessions with the new Mustang. So he's the gelding that's from Nevada, and he's a 3-strike Mustang, meaning that he was offered 3 times in the States, whether it was at auction or training events, and nobody picked him. And so he ended up here with me because I do need to get 3-strike Mustangs, otherwise they're not allowed to come across the border to Canada. And here's a little bit of the beginning footage. So you can see how kind of skittish, jumpy he is there as I'm just picking up his hay and putting it back in his tub there. So that way it stays a little bit more contained and doesn't get so wasted. And he's curious about me. And here I'm picking up a little bit of hay and offering to reach out to him. And I pick up grass. And it's kind of neat to get a Mustang when it's still a nice weather out, and we got a little bit lucky having grass into the fall, because then I've got something that I can give him, and he goes over and gets a little drink there too, which says a little bit about some confidence about not being worried about me or what I'm going to do. And you can see in my hand there I picked a little bit of grass. I'm just waiting for him to finish his water. One of the things when I'm working with Mustangs and I'm trying to build trust is part of that is showing them like, hey, I see what you're doing and I listen to your behavior, and I don't bother you while you're in a vulnerable moment, like going over and having a drink of water. I want to make sure that he's understanding that I'm not going to sneak up on him while he's not looking at me. I always want to make sure he knows that I'm aware when he's looking at me or when he's not. And so I'm only approaching him if he is fully present and kind of aware of those moments. And so I'm offering him the grass, and he's not so keen to take it all the time, which is totally normal. And then I thought what's interesting here is that when I was crouching down to pick the grass, that he came over to get grass. So it could be that my body's in a little bit less intimidating posture. However, it's definitely something to kind of be cautious about, because sometimes horses, they go through this kind of pattern where they're skittish and they're scared, and then they become confident, and then they become dominant, and they can stomp at things. And it doesn't mean that they're being mean or anything like that, but it's just a reality that horses, as they start to get more confident and then dominant, they can stomp or strike at things. And so I don't want to be down in a vulnerable posture, and then he decides to try pawing at me with his feet, because he is so much stronger and bigger than me that I could definitely end up super injured. Would be definitely just not a fun thing to go through. So you always want to be careful with things like that. So even though I'm crouching here, it's not that I'm advocating that you do that with horses. Definitely do that mindfully. And then I stand up and I offer him some more grass, and then even a few little nose touches to see if you can see how I'm offering him the grass, but he has to kind of allow me to touch him with my other hand as he's touching the grass. So it's using positive reinforcement or trying to create positive associations, and it does speed training a little bit and makes things go a little bit faster, which you can see how he really needs a brush for his mane. I'd love to have him get his feet done. He had a few spots where there was a little bit of thinning in his fur, which could be lice or mites, which is pretty common in Mustangs. I've had that they need to be treated with lice treatment. So once I can get close enough to him and I can do that, we'll definitely be putting that on him as well. So there's lots of things that I'd love to be able to do for his care. And the more I can speed training up and yet still be, kind and careful, not overwhelming, then I want to be able to do that for him. That was just a little clip of showing you guys how I muck out his pen, and he just kind of stands at a distance and watches me. And then I thought I'd include this clip here because I thought, okay, well, the little bit of touching on his face is going okay, but I wanted to start using a stick to touch the rest of his body. And so this is me literally just holding the stick. It's dragging on the ground. I'm just following his body around the pen, and he's got no interest. It's super much more intimidating me holding the stick. And sometimes people could be like, you must have like hit him with the stick or something like that. It's like, well, no, when they sort Mustangs in the holding pens, like I kind of showed with the with him getting loaded in his first video, they do use sticks with flags often to kind of shake it at them and get them to move from one pen to the other. So they are conditioned a little bit to run from a stick or a flag. But I haven't used it in any way with him up until this point. And the main reason is sometimes horses can be nervous when you're approaching their body, and sometimes they react out of fear. And that could be striking at you. It could be running away is usually the more common thing, but especially because I'm carrying my sister-in-law's baby, I don't want to be stomped at, which can injure you anyways and cause all sorts of problems. I definitely have some horse friends that I've met over the years that got knocked over by horses or accidentally kicked by horses and had to have multiple surgeries to fix whatever that like happened. So it's something that you definitely want to be careful with, but especially because I'm carrying my sister-in-law's baby, I want to touch at a distance. And so when I use the stick, that's the intent of it, is that it's like literally making my arm longer so that way I can reach out and pet and touch. And then if he does decide to have a fearful reaction or a dominant reaction, you never know what it's going to be, and he strikes out or paws or something like that, that I'm not within reach, I've got room to turn or get away or something like that. So what I'm doing here is just kind of following him politely, holding my little stick and trying to just find a better note. Mustangs don't always react they don't always react the same. And this is very much not a flag, which is what a lot of the sorting they use, is like a little flag on the end, like something that shakes and makes rhythm. This is literally just a lunge whip. So it's just really a long stick. And he kept moving away. And then finally, when he stopped, I just kind of play a little bit of approach and retreat and just finish on a much better note. So let me know what you guys think of this little guy and what name ideas.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.